What if I told you that your genes don't belong to you? That there's a secret pulled straight from the Grimoire of Thoth, proving that your DNA is software that can be hacked, and that the powers you call supernatural are actually biological functions that were deliberately shut off in you? Pay close attention, because what I'm about to reveal is the reason you feel stuck, living the same life day after day. This isn't just a feeling. It's a program that makes you wake up and within seconds, your body is already producing the same chemistry of anxiety and frustration as yesterday. You're not living reality, you're living a repetition of your past because your body has become addicted to suffering. And the system that hid this knowledge depends on that. But this truth found you for a reason. Thoth, the scribe of the gods, left a key. He taught that within you there is a biological portal, a sealed antenna in the center of your brain capable of receiving the codes to rewrite this programming. In the next few minutes, I'm not just going to tell you this secret. I'm going to give you the exact map to activate this antenna, hack your own DNA, and unlock a specific ability that 99% of people believe is impossible. But I warn you, once you awaken this, there's no going back to sleep. Stay until the end, because the last step is the most dangerous. Birth is not the beginning of life, only of individual consciousness. Change to another state is not death, only the end of that consciousness. Your body is not just flesh and bone, it generates an electromagnetic field 5,000 times stronger than the one produced by your brain. A force capable of influencing matter. But this force is being used to reinforce the bars of your prison. However, within your own genetic code, there is a forgotten master key, a science that proves you are not a prisoner, but the architect. And this science has a name. This science is called epigenetics, and it comes to destroy one of the greatest dogmas you've been told. The idea that your DNA is a sealed fate. For decades, we were taught to believe that our genes were like a life sentence. If you had the gene for a disease, it was only a matter of time. But that is the lie that kept you powerless. Epigenetics reveals that your genes are, in fact, like a vast control panel with millions of switches, and most of them are turned off, waiting for a command. And who gives that command? You. The command isn't given through words, but through frequency, through energy. Your internal environment, the chemical soup generated by your thoughts and emotions, is the signal that flips those switches. Imagine that a genuine thought of gratitude, sustained for a few minutes, sends a wave of coherence through your body. That wave is an electrical and chemical signal that travels to the core of your cells and activates genes linked to cellular repair and the production of anti-inflammatory proteins. You literally gave your body an order to heal just by changing your internal state. This perfectly echoes the fundamental Hermetic principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. Your mental states are not random events. They are the primary causes that produce measurable effects in your biology. A state of chronic resentment is a cause that creates the effect of inflammation. A state of love and compassion is a cause that creates the effect of regeneration. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the walking cause of your own physical reality every second of every day. And this is no longer theory. Research institutes around the world are documenting this in real time. The issue is that this truth was hidden under the complexity of science. They made you believe you needed an intermediary, a doctor, a medicine, to interact with your own body. But the truth is that you are the master operator of your genetic code. Every emotion you cultivate, every thought you sustain, is an instruction you send to your DNA. You are constantly programming your biology, either consciously or, like most people, totally unconsciously, repeating the programs of the past. Now you understand that you can give new instructions to your body. But what is the interface? How exactly does a thought, which seems so ethereal, translate into such a precise genetic instruction? The answer is not in thinking more positively in a forced way. It lies in activating a specific biological component, a small gland at the exact center of your brain that ancient civilizations called the third eye, and that Thoth described as the organ that connects man to cosmic consciousness. The pineal gland, the cosmic antenna sealed in your brain. That organ, that biological interface, is the pineal gland, and it is much more than materialist science describes. Hidden in the geometric center of your brain, this small pinecone-shaped structure is the biological hardware for spiritual experience. For centuries, it was secretly revered. The Egyptians depicted it at the top of Osiris's staff, and the Vatican built a giant statue of it in its main courtyard. They knew that within it resided immense power, a portal sealed off in most of humanity. Let's go beyond melatonin production, the function they told you about in school. The true magic of the pineal lies in its unique composition. It's lined with tiny calcite crystals, and these crystals possess an extraordinary property called piezoelectricity. Simply put, this means that when these crystals are subjected to mechanical pressure, they generate an electric pulse. They convert a physical force into an electrical signal. And what could generate this pressure? Your own internal energy, when consciously directed. When you learn to move your energy through breathing techniques and intention, you create upward pressure in the cerebrospinal fluid that bathes the brain. This subtle yet powerful pressure squeezes the crystals in the pineal gland. And in that moment, an electric flash happens at the center of your head. The gland becomes a transducer, an antenna that switches on. It stops being just a gland and becomes a quantum device capable of receiving and, more importantly, transmitting electromagnetic frequencies beyond the physical body. In the Emerald Tablets, Thoth's instruction is direct and technical, not metaphorical. Lift thine eyes to the light. Focus thy thought on the center of thy brain. He wasn't asking you to imagine a light. He was describing a physiological process, directing your energy and awareness to a specific point to activate a mechanism. He knew the pineal was the bridge between the world of matter and the world of energy, the biological hardware that, once activated, allows human consciousness to transcend the limitations of the five senses. Most people live with this gland calcified, numbed by fluoride in the water, electromagnetic pollution, and a life disconnected from their own inner energy. An inactive pineal keeps you trapped in the three-dimensional reality, believing the world is only what you can see and touch. But when it awakens, perception expands. You begin to sense the subtle layers of reality, to feel the energy of places and people, to receive intuitions with shocking clarity. The veil begins to tear. Activating the pineal is the first step, but what does it transmit? What is the language the universe understands? It's not words, it's not your wishes or requests. It's something much more fundamental and powerful. The pineal doesn't send emails to the cosmos, it emits a form of energy that quantum physics is only beginning to validate in biological systems. Light. And that light, as the alchemists knew, carries codes. This light is not a poetic metaphor. It's a physical phenomenon called biophotons, ultra-weak packets of light emitted by all living systems, including your cells and especially your brain. In a normal and chaotic state, this light emission is disordered, like white noise from a radio out of tune. But when you enter a state of high internal coherence, when your heart and mind beat in a unified rhythm, the activated pineal gland acts like a laser, organizing these biophotons into a coherent, structured beam of light. These beams of light are not empty. They are the language of creation. They carry information. They are light codes shaped directly by your emotion. A low vibration emotion, like fear or anger, creates a chaotic, distorted light code. But a sustained, elevated emotion, like genuine gratitude, unconditional love, or awe for existence, creates a light code with perfect geometry, a complex and harmonious electromagnetic signature. You become a transmitter of information patterns to the universe. And where does this transmission go? It interacts with what physics calls the quantum field, an infinite ocean of energy and information where all possibilities of reality exist as vibrational potentials. This is where the magic happens. When the light code you emit finds a matching frequency in the field, a phenomenon called resonance occurs. Your light locks onto a specific potential, and that act of resonance is what begins to pull that possibility from the world of energy into the world of matter. This is the true foundation of alchemy, stripped of its mysterious symbols. The great work was never about transforming lead into physical gold. It was about the transmutation of consciousness itself, so it could manipulate the astral light or secret fire, ancient names for this biophotonic energy field. The alchemist learned to purify their emotions, dissolving the lead of the ego, to generate a pure light code, the gold, and thus rewrite reality from the inside out. You are constantly emitting these codes, whether you know it or not. The problem is, for most people, the transmission is unconscious, scrambled, and contradictory. You want prosperity, but you emit codes of scarcity. You seek love, but you transmit a frequency of loneliness and lack. The universe does not respond to what you want, it responds to the energy signature you emit. It responds to the language of light codes, the only language it understands. If the pineal is the antenna and light codes are the message, how do you generate a strong enough signal to be heard by the field? How do you create a transmission so clear and powerful that the universe has no choice but to respond? The answer lies in synchronizing your brainwaves. Each brainwave frequency is a portal, but there is one specific frequency, gamma frequency, that turns your brain into a quantum laser, capable of opening the door to what the corpus hermeticum calls the divine mind. Gamma waves, tuning into the frequency of mystical reality. Your brain is not a static gray mass. It's an electric orchestra pulsing in different rhythms or waves. In your everyday life, in a state of alertness, solving problems, you operate in beta waves. It's a state of external focus, but also of stress and separation. When you relax, close your eyes and begin to meditate, your brain slows down to alpha, the gateway to the subconscious. It goes even deeper into theta, the realm of lucid dreaming and deep intuition. But beyond all of this, there is a state that science once believed was unreachable for most people. Gamma waves. Gamma waves are the frequency of hypercoherence. Imagine that every part of your brain, which normally operates independently, suddenly begins to fire in perfect synchrony, like millions of musicians playing the same note at the same time. This explosion of neural coherence is what happens in peak states of consciousness. Ecstasy, unconditional love, instant downloads of wisdom. It's not a passive state, it's a state of ultra-high-speed information processing, where the brain becomes a superconductor of consciousness. This is the state that enables the deepest application of the Hermetic principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. In normal states, you are simply a victim of your environment's vibrations. But in gamma, you become the conductor of your own vibration. You are no longer just reacting. You are consciously tuning your frequency to match a higher reality, a possibility that already exists in the quantum field. You stop asking, and you start becoming the vibration of what you desire. Neuroscientists who studied Tibetan monks and advanced meditators were shocked to measure these gamma waves, which were dozens of times stronger and more coherent than those of the average person. Researchers like Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has been measuring the brain activity of meditators in elevated states of consciousness for years, confirmed that this state is not a gift reserved for a few. It is a trainable skill. Through consistent meditation practices and inner focus, these individuals learn to flip the gamma switch voluntarily, opening a direct portal to the unified field of information. When your brain enters gamma, time and space as you know them begin to dissolve. The sense of a self separate from the world disappears. You feel a deep connection with all that exists. It is in this state that so-called spontaneous healings occur, that the most improbable synchronicities manifest, that solutions to complex problems appear in a flash of insight. Because in gamma, you are no longer operating from your limited mind. You are operating from the infinite intelligence of the field. You can train your brain to reach the gamma state, but the brain doesn't work alone. It needs energy. Where does the fuel for this explosion of consciousness come from? The energy doesn't come from food or sleep. It comes from an internal source. A powerful current that rises through your spine, a fire the alchemists called the fiery serpent, which activates energy centers that science is just beginning to map. This energy current is not a mystical fantasy. It's a flow of electromagnetic energy that runs along your spinal cord. Ancient traditions mapped this invisible architecture into energy centers, or chakras. But today we can understand them from a neuroendocrine perspective. Each of these centers corresponds to a major nerve plexus and an endocrine gland, factories of hormones that regulate your entire biology. You have energy reactors inside your body, and most of them are operating in low-power mode. The first center, at the base of the spine, is connected to the adrenal glands, producers of cortisol and adrenaline. It's the center of survival, fear, and the fight-or-flight response. When you live in that state, all your energy gets trapped there, feeding a cycle of stress. The fourth center, at the heart, is connected to the thymus gland, the command center of your immune system. It's the center of love, compassion, and coherence. The sixth center, between the eyebrows, is linked to the pineal and pituitary glands, the centers of intuition and higher vision. The transformation work is an upward energetic journey. Through breathing techniques and focused intention, you learn to pull energy that's stagnating in the lower centers, associated with survival emotions, and raise it center by center. This is the true alchemical process of solve et coagula, dissolve and coagulate, applied to your own energetic body. You dissolve the dense and crystallized energies of fear, guilt, and shame, and coagulate them into a higher, more subtle form in the upper centers. When you move energy from the survival center to the heart center, you literally change your chemistry. You stop producing stress hormones and start producing creation hormones like oxytocin and dopamine. Your body shifts from defense mode into growth and repair mode. You are, in practice, transforming the chemistry of fear into the chemistry of love, and your entire body responds to this new instruction, reorganizing itself around a new command center. This rising energy, this fire that the alchemists called the fiery serpent or Kundalini, continues to ascend. As it passes through the throat, it unlocks communication, and when it finally reaches the brain, it floods the pituitary and pineal glands. This surge of coherent energy provides the fuel for the brain to enter gamma states. It's the force that squeezes the pineal crystals and lights up your cosmic antenna. Your body becomes a pillar of light, a conductor of energy from heaven to earth. When this energy rises and floods the brain, it sets the stage for the main event. But for the final transformation to happen, the most important thing that defines you must be dissolved: your identity. The self you think you are, with your story and your fears, is the last barrier. The next step requires you to become nobody in order to become everything. It is the moment of the great work, where the lead of the ego must be transmuted. The death of the ego, the quantum leap into pure consciousness. This is the turning point, the climax of the journey. You've learned how to reprogram your genes, activate your pineal gland, and raise your energy. But all of that was preparation for this moment, the dissolution of the central illusion, the identity you call me. That me is not who you are. It's a construction, a pattern of neural networks formed from all your memories, traumas, beliefs, and conditioning. It's a character you've learned to play so well that you forgot it was just a role. To access the quantum field, the realm of infinite possibilities, you must go beyond that character. The process for doing this is becoming the observer. Imagine yourself sitting on the bank of a river. The river is your thoughts, constantly flowing. The mistake you made your whole life was jumping into the river and getting carried away by the current. Now, you learn to stay on the shore. You observe the thoughts of anger, fear, doubt, but you don't identify with them. You watch them pass, without judgment, without reaction. When you stop feeding those thought patterns with your attention, they begin to lose their power. The energy that kept them alive is withdrawn. And in that process, you free yourself from the tyranny of the mind. You enter what the masters call the absolute present moment, the eternal now. It's a state of void, of silence, of nothing. And it is precisely in that void, in that nothing where the ego doesn't exist, that all possibilities exist. You must empty yourself of who you think you are to be filled with who you truly are. This is the central secret of alchemy and Hermeticism, the union with the all, the universal mind. The great work isn't about creating something, but dissolving what is false so that what is true can emerge. Thoth, in the tablets, states it unequivocally. Man is only what he believes, a brother of darkness or a child of light. By dissolving the ego, you stop believing you're the brother of darkness, the limited personality, the character, and become the child of light, pure consciousness, the silent observer. It is from this state of pure consciousness that true reprogramming happens. You're no longer trying to change reality from the level of the ego with all its limitations and fears. You're operating from the level of the field, the source of all creation. From this space, you can consciously choose a new reality, a new timeline, a new genetic expression, not through effort, but through a simple act of focused intention and elevated emotion. You stop being an effect of the world and become the cause of it. You touched the quantum field. You felt the unity. You experienced the healing. But now the real test begins. You open your eyes and the old world is still there. The routine, the people, the challenges. How do you bring this new awareness, this new identity, into a reality that will try every second to pull you back into your old self? Integration is the part where 99% of people fail. The real challenge of the modern mystic isn't reaching the top of the mountain, but coming back down and walking among people without losing the elevation they've reached. The quantum experience, the moment of unity, is the compass, not the destination. The destination is your everyday life. Integration is the process of embodying that new frequency in the chaos of the world. This is where practice becomes more important than theory. It's the trial by fire that shows whether your transformation was real or just a passing experience. The key to that integration is to start your day creating your future, instead of allowing your mind to recreate your past. Before you pick up your phone, before you connect with the outer world, you connect with your inner world. You close your eyes and ask yourself, what is the emotion of my future fulfilled? And then you feel it. You practice feeling gratitude for the healing before it shows up, abundance before the money arrives, love before the person appears. You train your body to believe that the new reality is already a fact. This is the practical application of the Hermetic principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its opposite. Life is a spectrum between two poles. Instead of living at the pole of lack, illness, and loneliness, you consciously choose, through your daily practice, to live at the pole of wholeness, health, and connection. You're not pretending. You're collapsing that reality through your sustained frequency, teaching your cells to vibrate in a new tune, the frequency of your future. Every challenge in your day becomes an opportunity to practice. A traffic jam is no longer a reason for stress, but a test of your patience and presence. An argument at work is no longer a personal attack, but a chance to observe your reactive ego without identifying with it. You stop seeing the world as something that happens to you and begin to see it as a mirror reflecting your internal state, showing you exactly where you still need to work, where your frequency still wavers. People around you will notice the change, not because you'll talk about it, but because they'll feel it. Your presence becomes calmer, more centered. Your energy is no longer reactive and needy. It's stable and radiant. You stop trying to control outcomes and start trusting the process. knowing that if you take care of your vibration, the universe will take care of everything else. You become a master of your state of being, no longer a slave to circumstances. By sustaining this new frequency, you're not just changing your life. Every coherent thought, every elevated emotion you emit is a wave that radiates outward into the invisible field that connects us all. You may not realize it, but your inner work is silently impacting the world around you. Science is now proving that consciousness is non-local, a fact Thoth knew thousands of years ago. Global coherence. Your healing is the healing of the planet. Quantum physics has shown us that, at the most fundamental level, everything is interconnected. Particles separated by vast distances respond to each other instantly, a phenomenon Einstein called spooky action at a distance. This connection isn't limited to subatomic particles, it extends to living systems, to consciousness itself. Your thoughts and emotions don't end at the edge of your skin. They are frequency emissions that contribute to a vast ocean of collective consciousness, a field that surrounds the entire planet. This is the Hermetic principle of correspondence on its grandest scale. As above, so below, as below, so above. But here we can read it as the individual is, so is humanity. When you heal your own wounds, when you raise your own frequency, you're not doing it just for yourself. You're adding a drop of coherence to that collective ocean. You're literally helping to heal the planet, one consciousness at a time. Your individual transformation becomes an act of planetary service. You become an anchor point for a higher frequency. Think of it as a vibrational ripple effect. When you walk into a room feeling peace and coherence, the people around you, whether they realize it or not, are affected by your field. Your calm can ease someone else's anxiety. Your compassion can dissolve someone else's anger. You become a silent catalyst for transformation without needing to say a single word. That's why your inner work is never selfish. It's the most selfless thing you can do. In a world dominated by chaos, fear, and division, choosing coherence, love, and unity is a revolutionary act. You are helping to build the critical mass needed for a global paradigm shift. Not everyone needs to wake up. Just a small percentage of the population vibrating in a coherent state is enough to tip the scale for all of humanity. This network of global consciousness is setting the stage for the next step in our evolution. We are collectively rewriting our genetic code on a massive scale. The result won't just be a new way of thinking. It will be a new biology. A new kind of human is emerging, and you, by completing this journey, become one of its pioneers. The final step is to claim this new identity and live your legacy. We've reached the end of this journey of knowledge, but the true beginning of your new life. The completion of this process isn't about collecting information, it's about embodying a new identity. Living as Human 2.0 is the synthesis of everything you've learned. It's walking through the world with the awareness that you are the creator of your reality, not a victim of circumstance. It's a state of being where inner coherence isn't something you seek, it's something you are. Living from this new identity means your intuition, now clear and quiet, becomes your main navigation system. Your actions are no longer driven by fear of what might go wrong, but by the inspiration of what can be created. Your body, responding to this new command frequency, begins to reflect the health and vitality of your elevated consciousness. Illness and imbalance simply find no resonance in your new energy field. You become the living proof of your own power. Your quantum legacy, therefore, is not what you build or accumulate in the material world. It's not the cars, the houses, or the money in the bank. Your true legacy is the frequency you sustain and radiate into the world while you are alive. It's the invisible impact your coherent presence has on the collective field. It's the silent inspiration you offer those around you simply by being an example that another way of living is possible. You become the living proof of Thoth, the Atlantean's final teaching. Know, O man, that you are light. Yours is the destiny to become one with the universe, a child of light. That is not a promise for the afterlife. It's an instruction for this life, here and now. The soul's journey through matter is fulfilled when you learn to express your divine nature, your inner light, through your human vessel, turning the temple into a beacon. The journey is complete. The promise of the title is fulfilled. You haven't just received the knowledge on how to reprogram your DNA and awaken your powers. You've understood the deeper purpose behind it. Now, the choice is yours. You can keep this knowledge as an interesting theory, or you can rise every day to practice it, embody it, live it. You can be the legacy. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to be. Be the peace you want to see in the world. Be the love you wish to receive. Be the freedom you've always sought. Because when you become the change, the universe has no choice but to change with you. The journey doesn't end here, it's only beginning. Welcome to your new life. If you've made it this far, I want to know what you think about all of this. Leave a comment saying, I choose to awaken my DNA. I want to see how many people are truly committed to this transformation. And if you want to support the channel more directly, I've left a special link in the first pinned comment. Any contribution you can give is very important to me and to the growth of the channel, because it helps us spread more content like this. But know that the simple fact that you made it to the end already helps me a lot. If you want to support even more, share this video with someone you believe needs to hear this message. And don't leave just yet. I've prepared a special video for you that complements everything we've talked about here. Just click on it now on the screen, and let's continue this journey together. I'll see you there.